Hey, family. What's good, y'all? I see a few of you in the chat. Good to see you guys. I'm excited about tonight. It was really just last minute. My brother's been at work all day. I've been dealing with a busted down vehicle all day. I was setting up for a pretty informative show, but I think that this will be much more helpful and informative than running through one of my formatted shows. I love them, and we'll get to the quantum physics and some of the other spiritual aspects, tying in with that kind of stuff again. Tomorrow, we got a snow day. We're looking at like 8 to 10 inches here, and so. Um, So we're gonna, I'll have a little bit of time. I got some stuff to do around the house, but oh man, thanks for joining me, guys. I am going to go ahead and bring in our guest. I was just trying to get this set up again. It was last minute, and so uh, just want to monitor it on the side and make sure that everything's coming through as far as picture. And if we have any issues with sound, just let me know, guys. Let's go ahead and bring Brandon in. Our guest tonight is Brandon Dodd from FD2L 2017, From Darkness to Light 2017. And I just want to welcome you, brother. I can't really give you a fitting introduction. All I can say is that I love you dearly. And man, we have been through a lot, even though we haven't even seen each other physically. Man, we've been through a lot together and experienced a lot in the shift, a lot of breaking together, a lot of revelation of very, very similar nature. Um, man, just so much, so much. And so I think, man, I'm just truly honored to have you here, and I know my anybody who's going to catch this, whether it's one of my subscribers or somebody that just catches it searching through YouTube. Um, Anybody who comes across this, you're going to be blessed, and this isn't by chance. You're gonna truly gain some understanding in this talk, especially with what's going on in your life right now, because I know that this is actually happening to everybody, and many just aren't aware of what this shift that we're going through in the cosmic realm and what it has to do with our Earth, with Gaia, Mother Nature, its toroidal fields, and in all of that, our toroidal fields, because we are connected with the Earth, and we're all connected. And so, let me just go ahead and turn the floor over to you, Brandon. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, brother, man. Like you said, we have never seen each other in the physical, stood there in front of each other so that we could give each other a hug or something. But man, we've been through so much, man. Before I came out here to Arizona, you were with me, man, when I was fasting for great lengths of time and the spirit was just pouring out into me and I didn't know what was going on, and you were having some very similar experiences. We were coming to the same conclusions, getting the same visions and understanding on things, and you were so monumental, man, in my life at that point. Like, I'm so grateful and humbled to have a brother like you, man, that I could call and cry and just cry with, man, and rejoice in this newfound knowledge that was getting presented to us, and
Very
it
knowledge.
big time, dude. I mean, we were getting hammered, bro. We were getting smacked up, dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd call you and be like, bro, I'm so buzzing right now, like we were talking right before the show,
Um,
and I said, I felt like somebody just plugged me into an electric source and I was just like, you
mhm.
know? So
Well, I know.
it's my honor, man. Like it is an honor for me to be here with you again. And I'm glad we got to reconnect. We had a little hiatus there for a minute while I came out here and took care of some things that I needed to take care of on my journey. And now the Father's brought us back together.
Totally, man, totally. And I even during that time that we weren't able to connect, because I know we're going to talk about that journey, because I think that it's very pertinent for those who might be, how do I say this, getting prepared for their own journey. Because
Yeah.
we know that with this shift, man, it's really shifting people's hearts to either service to others or service to self. And
Yeah.
and that's the separation of the wheat from the tares. And I mean, we can go into any religious writing and aspect and look at all the various different views on that, but we know that just about everyone correlates with one another. And that's one of the things that I started uncovering early on in my research. And when I found you, it was amazing because I was actually looking into a lot of the lost tribes and how they had to do with these other species, races,
Hmm.
and just like things that I could not come to terms with, that I could not come to grips with, things that I was getting from source that um, I wasn't reading somewhere, I wasn't watching on a video. It was things that I was just receiving, and then we talk. And I saw one video and I was like, man, this dude is just exactly where I'm at right now. Because it just connected dots, man. And I was like, that's exactly what I received from the Father. That's exactly what he showed me about. And it was actually the video that you did. And I believe we had already talked a couple of times, but where it was really just like, um, a complete connection, man. Where there was no doubt, because I'm that Gideon type, man. I'm always putting the fleece out, and so we had talked a couple times, and it was just canny. It was eerie, and it was uncanny, and it was just like, um, what is going on here? And then when you did the video about um, the two triangles, um,
Yeah.
with the bottom touching the bottom, the two bottoms touching each other. And so it's the right side up and then the inverted triangle, like the Merkaba split or the Star of David separated. And then you did the different realms
Yeah.
and different. Oh man, that right there was like, because I had seen very similar, like in a vision, and it was more like an egg shape almost.
Hmm.
The you were explaining the realms in the way that the top one was shorter, and then the next level was a little bit wider, and then there was our expanse that just that man, it blew my mind. I mean, literally at that point, that's when I thought, man, I am both going crazy and I am fucking more sane than I've ever been in my life. Like I
Right.
knew exactly what was going on, but I thought I had gone insane, dude. I
Right.
really did. Like it was nuts. And not just because of the things that we were discovering, but that connection.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was good that when you went on that journey, man, that right there, I think was a, a solidifying of that connection, because there was that faith. Like I said, there was a little bit of worry from me for you, because I hadn't heard from you. All that crazy stuff was going on, and
Yeah.
then just dropped off the face of the earth, and I was like, "Shit, did he already get taken up to with spaceship, or is he on the moon? What the hell happened? Is he in a cave in another parallel universe? What the you know? But then I had got word that you were all right, and that you were on your journey, and you just couldn't reach out to people at the time, and so at that point, man, I knew it was just hey man, almost I guess it was pretty much daily. I in my at some point in my meditation and prayer, I'd just send good energies to you, and just man, the Father, just speaking it into the universe and requesting, because I think about praying, and when I used to pray, I'd beg and grovel and plead, but it says to enter the throne room of grace boldly and ask
Yeah.
for help in time of need, and it says
Yeah.
ask boldly. And so I spoke to Father and I said, man, just I know that you have him, because you have him on this journey, and you're going to see to it, no matter what comes his way, that he's going to get where he's going. And when he gets there, even if we don't connect after that, I know that there's going to be a time where we do, even if it's not in this realm. And
Right.
just a couple of weeks went by, and bam, I hear from my brother, and things are all good, and the amazing experiences didn't stop from when you left your home, man. I mean, it was
Uh,
just from when you
yeah,
left your home to go to your home. I mean,
that's right. And let's let me talk about that for a minute, if
please
that's
do,
okay.
man. I'm gonna just give you the screen, and I'm gonna let you share what comes from your heart for a second, man.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Yes,
So I know there's probably some of your viewers that know me that are watching, and of course you, that things were very intense for me. Joseph was there. We spent many a conversations talking and about the downloads I was receiving and the visions and I mean how little I was eating. Literally, I think for about a month and a half, I've survived on like a 5 pound bag of tangerines and water. And that was about it. The, like, but the way I understand that now is that the amount and the of information the Father was pouring into me, like the flesh had to be so weak. Like my flesh had to be so weak, so I could just take in and digest and hear from Him so clear. I've never fasted that long before or pushed my body, not even in the military, uh, to the very threshold of death. And I remember laying on the couch and just shaking, and my body was shaking, my heart was beating all crazy, and I'm like, this is it. Like, Father, I give you my spirit. If it's your will to take me now, then you take me. If it's your will that I stay here and do things, then I stay here. But my spirit is yours, Father, because you are in me and I am in you. And I was this staff. I'm gonna turn. Let me get this staff real quick. Right here. So this staff, of course, without the feather on it, and this black stuff. I was sitting out in my yard one night with a girl named Kaylee. We were just sitting there talking. It was dark, and we both saw three huge pulses of light just light up the whole sky. And I was like, "Did you see that?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "We got to find out where that's coming from." I said, "Get out your constellation app." I said, "Where's the moon? Where's the moon?" And we found the moon. It was kind of over the horizon a little bit, hadn't rose up. And I saw these like energy pulses coming from behind the moon on the app. And I was like, we've got to get somewhere where there's no lights. Like, we need to get somewhere where we can see the sky just as clear as can be. And we took in, she's like, I know a place on the river we can go, but there's trees covering. You can't really see that good. Well, I've always had this connection with a place called Panther Falls. If your viewers want to look it up, it's in Virginia and should be Nelson County. And always drawn there. Beautiful place. Two big rocks with a waterfall going down the center. And to the locals that go there, we know about 3 feet under the water, there's a huge hole. You can swim under it and come up behind the waterfall. And just always been connected with water and that place in particular. So I'm like, no, we need to drive to Panther Falls. Well, that's an hour from where I was living. So we're driving up there, right? And we're going up the mountain. And I'm a river rat mountain boy, have been my whole life. And my ears are just popping, like not normal, trying to equalize the pressure of going, higher. Just pop, 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 pop. And I look at her and I said, man, I was like, we're going to hear something tonight. I was like, we're going to meet, I bet we meet two angels. And then we're driving further up the mountain, and I get this overwhelming feeling in me that I have to forgive the Satan. I have to forgive the very person that
to
caused all this. So I'm just out loud, man. I forgive you, Satan. Everything that you've done to me, I forgive you. I hold nothing against you. Like, stop doing what you're doing. Just go back to the Father. He'll forgive you, man. All's good. Everything you've done. And I'm talking all this. Well, we pull up to Panther Falls, and there's this sign of a boy that had went missing just a week prior. Chris, I think his last name was Mays. I'm not 100% on that, but his first name was Chris. So I'm just like, huh, something told me to stop. The father told me to stop, read that. I did. Well, we walked down the path, and when you get down there, it tees off like this. You can go left or you can go right. I've never been left. I mean, I've been to this place hundreds of times and I've never gone left. But I went right to go like I'm going to go to the falls, and it's a narrow path. And I get to one portion in the path, and all of a sudden I feel intense heat in this one spot, and I just start instantly sweating. And I look at Kaylee and I'm like, man, what is going on? And I step out of the spot and I go back cool instantly. I'm cool. I step back into the spot. I'm fire hot. And I'm like, man, what's going on? Do you see this sweat boiling up on me? What is this? This is crazy. And I was like, come on, man, we got to get to the falls. So we go to the falls, and she sits on a rock up here away from me, and I go right to the edge of the fall. And I'm looking over, and I'd never seen the water that low ever. I mean, you could see the entrance to the tunnel that goes on that you have to swim under about 10 foot down, and then you come right back up on the other side behind the fall. I could see the hole. And I'm like, I get this overwhelming feeling in me that I hear in my spirit, call call him forth, call Lazarus forth. And I'm like, what? I was like, this is crazy. So I just am being obedient, and I leaned my head over and I said, come on, Lazarus, come on out. And when I did that, I felt the darkest energy hit me I have ever felt. It almost knocked me down. And what it was is this was a real this is a spot that a lot of people go to commit suicide. A lot of people have committed suicide at Panther Falls. And it was their energy. It was these spirits. And so I'm talking to them, and I'm like, it's all right, guys, it's okay. Like, I know you don't know what's going on. Call out to the Father. I said, he'll bring you out of it. Call out to him. He's real. He loves you. He's right here. And as soon as I said that, woof, that energy left me, and I just felt peace. And then I hear all the crickets, man, that are in the woods singing. They all come together, and it sounded like a choir of angels, man. And I look over at Kaylee because I thought she was playing music. And I look at her, I said, are you playing music right now? And she's like, no. And I go, you can't hear this? And she's like, hear what? And I said, all the crickets, man. I was like, it's angels. And I'm crying, man, because it's so beautiful. And I said, we got to go the other way. We got to go the other way. So we go back down the path. I hit that same spot again, and I burn up with heat. And I'm looking around. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna find this boy's body or something. So I'm looking in the trees because the water level had rose up real high at one point because we had a big storm come through. So there's a lot of debris, and I'm looking all through it and everything. And I'm like, I need a stick. I need a stick. And I'm hollering. And then I start laughing because I'm thinking, how ridiculous is that? I'm in the woods, man, surrounded by sticks, and I can't find a daggone stick. But what it was is the Father wanted me to enter the water then, telling me I'm hot. He made me real hot so I'd enter the water. This is spring water, man. Cold as all get out, coming right out of the mountain. So we walk a little further and we go to, instead of going back up where the cars were, we go straight, and it's briars and it's thick, and the trail ends, and it's just this little rabbit trail going down to the water. And I look at Kaylee, and I can tell by her, she's like, we barely know each other. And she's like, I am up in the mountains with this boy at 12:30 at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna kill me? Is he gonna rape me? Like, what's going on? And I get in the water, and as soon as I get in the water, the heat, woof, it's gone. And it's like I hear in me, all right, now walk that way and keep walking. So I walk, and then I hear stop, and I look down, and I see about this much of the staff sticking out of the mud under 3 foot of water. And the Father said, that's your staff, grab it. And I pull it out the water, and I set it up, and I'm looking at it, and beavers had chewed it off, and it's just the perfect height. It's just perfect. And I'm like, man, I look at it, I'm like, I found my staff. I found the stick. And he says, keep walking. And there's no cars there, right? I mean, this is 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I keep walking, and all of a sudden I see this little light come walking down through the woods, and I'm like, what's this? It's a guide, and he's like, hey, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, are you? And he goes, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing walking in the middle of this river at 12:30 in the morning at night. And I said, that's a story, brother. I said, can I come up and tell you? And he's like, sure. So we go up there. It's just him and his wife. They were the two angels. And I was there to tell them that they were angels and that the Father loved them so much. And they couldn't believe it because they were smoking pot and drinking a little bit, and they're like, nah, man, not us. Well, I come to find out by talking with him, his name was Tim, and he was real big into science. And I'm like, what's Tim? Is that short for something? He said, yeah, Timothy. And I said, I said, in the Bible in Second Timothy, Timothy was warned about false science, right? And he's like, yeah, well, come and find out he knew scripture pretty daggone good. So we have our little conversation, and then we go back down the mountain. So that's one incident, one incident before my journey. And what really led me out here, guys, for real, is I was kayaking on the James River in Virginia, following the bateaux. These are wooden boats they built back in the day. They would submerge them in water, and the wood would swell, and then they'd get them out the water. They dry a little bit, and pioneer days, that's how they float down the river. So I'm following them and everything. I pull over to eat for lunch, and I look down in the river, and I see this little stone that doesn't belong. I mean, that stone does not come from Virginia. It doesn't belong in Virginia. I didn't know what it was at first. So I pick it up, and something tells me you need to hold on to this. So I stick it in my pocket and go on, finish the trip. Probably maybe about a week after that, that's when my whole life was like, that's when it all started, man. And I had no idea who the Hopi Indians were. I never researched Native Americans in my life. And to be honest, if I'm super honest, I never gave Native Americans much thought at all.
Yeah.
And I hear in my spirit Hopi. And I'm like, Hopi. And so I Google Hopi, and I see, oh, cool, they're Indians, they live out there, Oh, okay, cool. And then the Father starts revealing what's in this rock, and he starts giving me visions, and tells me I have to take this to them, that it belongs to them. And I'm like, this is crazy, like, I don't know them. They don't know me. And you know, I out of obedience, I had to do it. And it cost me everything. It cost me everything. My family thought I had lost my mind, and I thought I was losing my mind, like you said. I felt this peace in me about it, but I didn't understand what was going on. And uh, I was just like, man, Father, this is a lot that you're asking me to do. And so I had set my family down, and I told them I was going to leave on September 1st to come out here. Well,
Mhm.
Father had other plans, and he wanted me to leave a lot earlier. And he knew it and was talking through me. Because if you remember some of my Facebook posts and everything, I was telling people, like, look, man, y'all aren't going to see me for a while, but I'm going to prepare a place for you, and you'll see me again. So it's like the Spirit was kind of telling my followers and stuff, that, hey, he's going away for a little bit, but don't worry, you'll see him again. And and then, man, when the Father told me to go, bro, I had been up all night. I went to go to bed. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I just heard in me, get up, get up, get up. You got to go. And I took a jacket, the stone, two crystals. I went over to Kaylee's house for a bit. I had to sign my truck over to her because the Father told me I couldn't take my truck. I had to take her car. And I mean, I'm so grateful for what she did on my journey. But her car, I've been a technician for 16 years, and I'm like, are you sure, Father? Because this thing leaks more oil than I've ever seen in my life. Like, this car is not going to make it. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure. And so I signed my truck over to her. She let me take the car. I had no money, nothing. Dory Appeal, she sent me $200. She's a freaking awesome sister, man. I mean, gosh, I can't I don't have words to even say how much I
Super
appreciate her.
encouraging, man. Super encouraging.
Yeah. And so I got the $200 from her and I leave. The two crystals, I was told by a bird I needed to bring them. The bird came over and pecked on the window. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life, man. And was like, nah, you need to take these with you. So they were her crystals. And I asked her, I said, look, I said, this bird's telling me I need to bring these crystals. I said, can I take these crystals? And she said, yeah. And I was like, cool. So I grabbed them. I left. When I left and I left Virginia border, I had never seen this before, brother. I've traveled this United States. I've been in the military. I've been overseas, everything. And I've never seen nothing like this. But when I got over the border, and this will be for another show, I can explain this in a little deeper as to why this had happened. But when I got over the Virginia line into Tennessee, there was at least 20 cops, man, row after row after row, only on the outbound side, not on the other. There was no construction going on. They all had their lights on. And I'm like, this is crazy weird, bro. Like, what is going on? And the father told me, he said, they're looking for your truck. He said, but they can't see you. That's why I had you take the car, because they're looking for your truck. And like I said, I can get in deeper. I've done nothing wrong. I've committed no crimes or anything like that. It's a whole lot deeper than what I can get into right now. But that was weird. So I'm going through Tennessee, and I don't normally pick up hitchhikers, but there was a guy hitchhiking. And hold on one second.
Yeah, you're fine.
He had this bag, this duffel bag, red cloth duffel bag, and immediately the father's like, "You need to pick him up." So without hesitation, I shoot, picked. I mean, it happened so fast. I pulled over and then I backed up to him, and he opens the door and he's like, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" And I was like, "Good." He said, "Where you going?" And I said, "Going to Arizona." I said, "Where you going?" He said, "I don't know. I was just told to start walking west a day and a half ago." He said, "I've been sleeping on the side of the highway waiting on you." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What's your name?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just a voice crying in the wilderness, brother." I
Mm,
still don't know his real name.
mm,
And we traveled 2,400 miles together. And this man, the whole time, because I'm telling you, man, I didn't get to hug my boys goodbye before I left.
mm.
And they're the two human beings that kept me from blowing my brains out in 2017, because I wanted to die. I was tired of everything, and I wanted to die. And I didn't get to hug them goodbye, man. And but it's okay. I had settled that in me. I had to settle in myself. I might not ever get to see my kids again. Um, and that was tough. But I'm going through all this on the journey, right? I thought about throwing that stone out of the window. I can't tell you how many times, and just turning around and coming back home, but I couldn't do it. So he's reading to me scripture and he's singing me hymns, and we're laughing and we're crying together. I ran out of money in Tennessee. I had no money, no more money, because I bought me and him a meal. When I realized he had been homeless for 2 years and that the father told him to get up and start walking, and that he camped on the side of that highway. And he said every time he tried to get up and walk away, the father said, "No, you sit back down. It's not time yet." And 10 minutes before I picked him up is when the father told him, "All right, you get up and start walking. He'll pick you up in a little bit." Um, I'm like, "What am I going to do, father?" And he said, "When you need gas," he said, you pull right up to the pump and you talk to the first person I tell you. And I'm telling you, bro, every time I needed gas, man, I pulled up to the pump. The first person the father told me to talk to, I did. And all I told him was, I said, "Listen, I know you don't know me, but my name's Brandon, and I'm on a mission for the father, and I'm heading to Arizona. I've ran out of money. If you could help me out with any gas money, I would greatly appreciate it." And every time, $20, enough to fill the tank and get me to the next station. Next station, $20. And so we get to Arizona, and I know I can't take this guy on the property that I was going on to, because they don't know him. Shoot, they ain't ever met me before. And so I'm like, "What am I going to do, father, man? I can't just leave this guy. Look, he's done traveled all this way and blessed me and helped me on my journey. Like, what am I going to do?" And he said, "You see that red bag of his?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Trade him the car for the red bag. It's a fair trade." And I'm like, "All right, all right, I'll do it." And so I told him, I said, look, man, I can't leave you with nothing. I said, you done been with me on this whole journey. I said, you're a voice crying in the wilderness. You got a message that people need to hear. I said, trade me to your red bag for the car. I'm gonna sign it over for you. I said, you ain't got no license. I said, you're homeless, man. I said, you ain't gonna register it no way. I said, trade me your red bag for the car. And he looks at me and tears in his eyes, man. And he's, okay. So we get where I'm going. He emptied his bag. I signed the car over. Boom, gave him the car, and I went on about my journey. But so I mean, that's just a Joseph, just a little bit of what was going on, man. But it was intense. The downloads, the visions I was getting, the information that was coming through me. That video I did that you talked about, I got that in like a 10-second download, smoking a cigarette on my back porch, and I just came into the whiteboard and started drawing. And then like the father's like, that's what this is, that's what this is. The Canaanites, the Levites, the Hittites, that they're races of beings that are higher than us, higher dimensional plane, if you want to put it in terms of that. That's why Christ said, I will bring you up through the five tribes. Why? And I'm like, I never understood why he said up through. And when I started getting this revelation of truth and understanding what was really going on, that all made sense. And I'm like, oh, wow. So Canaanites are Pleiadians. And then you go on down the list: Amalite, Hittites, Levites, Jezebites. Those are all races of beings.
Right. And I mean, I think that that's one thing that people have a hard time grasping, is that there's anything outside of us, outside of this. And, as I know you've seen some of my content and seen that I've been talking about the quantum physics and how these things manifest. And I think that that's even for people who get a grasp on what's going on with this shift and with this awakening, might be missing out, like the fact that the stuff is real. I mean, there's no denying it.
Oh yeah,
There
no,
are extraterrestrial beings. There are giants. There are mythical creatures. What we consider, we're taught, were mythical creatures. It's real, and these things are going to be manifesting again.
yep,
And it really is a lot of what we're seeing in the world today is picture of the picture of um, the inward condition
mm-hmm,
of the collective, the collective here,
mm-hmm,
um, the human race. Because since we do have celestial and terrestrial, and we are able to manifest via our thoughts and our emotions, that we have been fooled, and basically we've been hacked, and a lot of our programming, our original programming, so to speak, we had a full range of what we consider a quantum computer today. We're so much more advanced than that when it comes down to it. I mean, the Father gave us the inheritance of the King, and so He gave us the inheritance of being able to create and destroy. And so we see all this destruction because of the programming that we've been through, and it starts from the time we're born into this realm. With that birth certificate, we're a stock, a bond, and from that point on, it's just a matter of indoctrination and constant indoctrination. And so
yep,
um, I think that it's just so good to have somebody else come on and talk about the very same things that many of us have been experiencing, many of us have been seeing, even in ways that, like you said, we talked about earlier, um, caused some of us to feel like, man, what the hell is going on? Is this
yeah,
truth is stranger than fiction, man? Like, is this shit real? This is like all of the freaking movies all put together. But then you see the truth and the lie and the programming in the movies that um,
mm-hmm,
I see them pushing us towards a controlled. They just, whatever power it is that's outside of us yet manifesting from the inward.
mm-hmm,
Um, in a way, I see it like this, brother. And I don't know if you agree with me or not, but this is the way I kind of see it, is like It's much how it is coming out of the awake or coming out of the sleep and coming into this shift and the awakening. Um, there's that cognitive dissonance, and it's hard to grasp what's really going on or to really come to terms with what's really going on. And so, again, that's manifesting outwardly. And we got a lot of people confused. And we got a lot of people running to an outward source to
Yep.
tell them what to be, how to be, what to do. And so, the outward manifestation of whatever it is that, so like what I've done in my studies is I've broken it down metaphysically, and I know you understand the Kundalini and the chrism and the pituitary and pineal and, the fluids mixing, going down to the coccyx and resting 3 days or coming back up into the cerebrum, resting 3 days, and then it causes that awakening, that pineal, the opening of the pineal, and even from there, it can cause the crown chakra to be activated, where you get these downloads, and
Yep.
um, and so in that, with all of these things manifesting outwardly, um, so the reptilian brain it fights for survival, and that's the part of the ego that just continues to fight for survival. And so I see that manifesting outwardly from the awakening point, that are we don't want to believe that the doctrines we've been given are false in the church. We don't want to believe that science in the school lied to us. We don't want to believe that everything mommy and daddy taught us about everything we know, just like Santa Claus, it's like a
Yep.
kid thinking that Santa Claus ain't real. You get crushed and you don't want to believe it. And that's that part of the reptilian brain trying to keep the ego alive, because we are coming into a oneness, into
Yep.
it's not necessarily a singularity, but it is. That's the paradox about it. It is the consciousness, the Christ consciousness, that Christ could look at somebody and know their heart, right?
Yep.
And so we're coming into that age, and that reptilian brain is trying to fight for survival, and in that it's outwardly manifesting in the what are they, the Draco,
Yeah. The Draco reptilians, man. The Anunnaki.
yeah, exactly. And so each aspect of this that we have spiritually or even physically, metaphysically, like the 12 cranial nerves represent the 12 tribes. And so every single one of our organs, and our digestive system, our pancreas, our liver, all of those things can actually represent, and even down lower, because a lot of people focus on the seven main chakras, but there's actually, like, I think 18 main chakras, and then over 200 and something chakras that can really affect your consciousness and the realm. And that's why they put um, potions and lotions, so all of the minor chakras that are throughout your skin absorb these things,
Yep.
and just keep you dull. And so, man, I just one thing I wanted to ask you regarding the trip, man, is how much of a part do you feel that, like, the fasting and what you went through physically had to do with the way that you received the downloads? Because I think that,
Hmm.
keeping in mind what the whole chakra and spiritual system is, how it's connected to the physical.
Yeah.
Do you believe that, like, did you see a notice, I guess? Did you notice a difference in from when you were fast to when you were eating? Or I know that for a time when you were fasting, you were just eating some oranges every now and then, right? Like, it wasn't a
Yeah.
so I mean, like, for a long stretch, I mean, it was a uh,
Yeah.
and so and
Yeah. I have no idea.
that, bro, I'm going to turn the floor over to you to talk a little bit about fasting and what that kind of looks like spiritually, in your journey and your walk, and even what you know about the metaphysical, how important it is to really clear and unclog those chakras and whatnot, man.
Yeah, absolutely. First, before I get into that, I just want to say, like, please don't fast for very long, long, long periods of time like I did, unless the Father's telling you. Like, it's not advisable. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, and it was
That was
unintentional, but it was
supernatural. I don't
also
mean to
rough.
interrupt you, but that was supernatural right there. What he called you to in that moment, that was definitely supernatural.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I did not plan that. I've always never planned fasts. I used to call them, if you remember, force fasts. It was like the spirit was like, no, I'm going to speak to you and you need to hear real clear. So yeah, I'm going to shut down some things. Um, and you know, I couldn't eat, man. I would try to eat and I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. And but for me it was very monumental. Like there was a lot of things going on in my life at the moment, striving for my attention. I was, researching a lot of information and everything like that, and crying out to the Father, make this, like, can you make this make sense for me? Like, I already know about the religions of the world, and how every single religion in the world has been doctored and altered for control. And I'm going to break away for a second and talk about this just because I feel like it's extremely important. Is people need to research the Anunnaki, man, because they are masters at mind control. That's the only reason we even have a reptilian part of our brain to begin with, is because we were genetically altered about 25,000 years ago. And this is on the petroglyphs at Hopi. And we can't take pictures of that and everything because this stuff's sacred. But if you wanna know the truth, man, with a very humble heart and full of respect, go to Hopi, man, and make friends with these guys, and get a tour or something like that of Old Oriabi, and it's all on there. Everything: spaceships, DNA manipulation, hybrids of animals and with human heads, alien beings coming down, everything, man. It's all written there. It's been there for thousands and thousands of years, unaltered. But it's to me super crucial being able to fast. It weakens this flesh, which we're not our flesh, and Scripture tells us that. And I don't want people to think, because I've heard this when we say the Bible's been doctored and religion has been doctored and altered and everything. So what do we believe? What do we not believe? What can we trust? What we can't? You can trust the words of Christ. Now, don't worship Jesus, because he never wanted that. He never wanted to be worshipped. Christ came in the avatar body of Yeshua to show us our true origins. And he spoke it in parables because not even the Draco Reptilian Anunnaki can understand, right? They don't even understand the parables because they don't understand the Father. So they're like, oh, yeah, we don't need to doctor this. Put it in there. He's just talking about fish or a tree or something like that. They didn't understand. So trust the words of Christ, and all he's doing is he's pointing you to you. He's pointing out who you are, right? So we take that and we look at it through that self examination. Could I be this? Am I really a son of the Father and Mother of all creation? Am I really? Yeah, you are. You are. And that disassociation, like you said, coming out of that sleep. We've been asleep for so long. We forgot what reality was. And then we wake up from that sleep. We're getting these downloads and we're waking up to things that are and have always been. We just forgot. We've been asleep. So fasting, it helps that. It helps cleanse the body of these toxins, these metals, these toxic things that clog our chakras up, that clog our pineal gland, and keeps us from having kundalini activation. And most Christians, they'll run when you say kundalini. Oh, we've been told that's of the devil.
Mhm.
Well, I have to say that when I'm told by a pastor not to read something or not to look somewhere that that's of the devil, I want to go read it because I want to find out for myself. Because they don't understand that 501c3 churches, man, they are signed by legal obligation of what they can talk about and what they can't talk about. And most of them are in it for the money anyway, or they're in it for their pride or their ego so they can stand up above everyone else and be worshiped. Look at what he's doing when all you're doing is adopting another man's theology and journey. Find
That's
the truth on your own. Get your shovel and your pitchfork, dig through the shit that they put out there to keep you from the truth. Wade in it. Get down in there with the pigs in the mud, man, and look through that shit, and you find those gems and you hold on to those pearls of great value.
Man,
You
I
know,
could
this
better, man.
we've got you got to separate that flesh from the spirit. You know, the flesh wars against the spirit. It's contrary to the spirit. And think of spirit as like truth, right? Because that's what Christ brought, the spirit of truth, the spirit of wisdom and understanding from the Father. So we take that spirit of truth, and it's contrary to the lie of the flesh, this reptilian Draco flesh that they engineered, these avatars, right? White people, if you're white, guess what? You didn't come from this planet. You're not original from here. That's a fact. That's not guessing, right? That's on the Hopi wall. That's on my stone. The Anunnaki, when they came down with pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. The Nordics.
It's throughout various cultures as well. I mean, it's
Yep.
I think in the Maori culture, they have them with very pale and sometimes a little bit of a bluish tint, and the
Yep.
hair is very blonde, and they have the red eyes, and
Yep.
um, yeah, man, yeah. I mean, it's documented throughout various cultures and throughout ancient cultures. I mean, it's there, and so
Yeah.
that again, the cognitive dissonance that comes in, man, and people just refuse to see the writing on the wall, literally, literally the writing on the wall.
Literally.
And
Yeah.
so
And this is, scripture says men's hearts will fail them from fear, and this is why, when they find out, oh crap, there really are beings. Oh, the Anunnaki were masters at mind control. And they told us, right? Because government, that's what it means, mind control. We're going to establish government. We're going to establish mind control. And that's how they war. That's why Christ told us, our weapons of warfare are not carnal, but are mighty for bringing down strongholds. They're the spiritual, they're the truth, not this, right? You're not going to attack them with bombs and guns. That's not going to work on them. Plus, they can control your mind if you're weak and you haven't got that chrism, that Christos in you, you're weak, and they can mow you like clay all they want to. Isaiah chapter 29:15 and 16. Woe to those that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord. Their deeds are done in darkness. They say, who sees us? Who knows us? Surely your turning of things upside down will be esteemed or called the potter's clay. This is genetic manipulation right there. They just told you in the Bible that they genetically altered you, and what they altered you to will be called the Father's work, but it's not.
and I think that's a great point, because it really does point to the duality that we were created as a slave race, and
Yep,
manipulated over and over and over again. I mean, the genetics, it never ended, as in the days of Noah or
yep,
as in the Lot. That's why those things happened. The wickedness was actually the genetic manipulation going on. The things that are going on today in with, and I know this is a sensitive subject because we've got some people um, that have been healing from abortion. And
mm,
so, but we do know now that that's what they're doing with stem cells and with a lot of the fetuses. A lot of the babies is using them for genetic manipulation, genetic altering with the vaccines, putting the genomes in the vaccines. And there's actually, I believe there was a full male genome found in one of the vaccines that was tested by an independent lab, and so we know that these things are going on. I've heard that there's even blood cells, white blood cells and red blood cells that are being emitted in some of these chemtrails, and that's hearsay. I wouldn't say
yeah,
yes or no on that, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I
hmm
think there's 100-fold reasons why these things are going on. And it really does literally can change day to day with how many people are being exposed to these things. And I think that's why things are getting so much worse, because as these truths come out and it becomes people's realities, then the truth is manifesting in a greater way on that electromagnetic scale that we're not able to perceive right now, as the vibrational frequencies are heightening
Mhm.
on the Schumann resonance. Our bodies are trying to adjust with that, and so there are some of us that are adjusting quicker than others, or even seeking that adjustment. As you have, as so many of my guests, or well, I've only had a couple of guests, but so many people I talk to, so many people that subscribe, so many people on Facebook. There are more people than you think, than I ever thought, that are coming to this knowledge and wisdom and applying it as gnosis, just that applied understanding of what they're receiving from the Father. And as the dots connect, and as the actual people connect, as we connect, it's weird because I know that we absorb energies in the toroidal fields around us. The
Mhm.
closer you are, the more you absorb them. But I've been reading a lot about quantum entanglement, and
Mm.
it's just amazing that um, there's a lot of talk about how the 144,000 are actually related in some way, or they have the same genetics.
Mhm.
So I did a show about how they put a human genome in a container with some subatomic particles, and when they removed it, uh, it actually took the shape of that genome. And even when the genome was removed, it reacted in the same manner as the genome after it was removed from there. The same particulates were acting in the same manner, and so
Wow.
I think that those 144,000, that could be many of us that are coming to this realization. And it really comes down to how far are you willing to go in this
Right.
knowledge and wisdom? How far are you willing to go in this journey?
Right.
And and is the intention of the heart really pure in regarding coming back to that song of creation, of love, of pure love, of service to others? That's what that agape love is, right? Charity. It begins with charity and
Yeah.
serving one another, in esteeming another higher than yourself. Willing to, what is that scripture says, brother? If you would say it for me, that there's no greater love than this.
Yeah. The one lay his life down for his brother.
It's coming back to that. And many
Yeah.
of us are doing that right now, that we're laying down our lives, we're laying down various things, not just in our own ego and in our own spirit, but the outward manifestations of circumstances that would normally crush us. I mean, I know the old me would have been crushed a thousand times over by some of the things that I've been going through in recent years and in recent months, and so um,
Oh yeah.
what's your take on, as far as like the energies and stuff, man? How can people best kind of deal with that? I know I've gone over a lot of things over and over again, but I know as I speak to people, man, David, my guest the other day, just resonated with so many people. Freedom, Rick last night resonated with so many people, and so I'd love to get your take on some of the ways to best cope. Um, because here's the other thing, we've all been through some crazy things, right? But the things that I experienced with you, I think that there is some kind of quantum entanglement in genetics, and it might even go, I mean, hundreds of thousands years back when all of these things first started to happen. But uh, I feel like in those times, man, I don't know, words can't frame it. It got
Yeah.
really crazy. It got really crazy, and I felt it every time I talk to you, or even before we talk, or when we talk next, I'd be like, hey man, this happened. And I don't know. There were times that I know that you were testing the spirit by allowing me to say, "Hey, man, this happened," and then there were times that I did the same thing. Get
Oh
you
yeah.
on the phone, allow you to say something, and it was just like, man, it resonated on a genetic level, on a cellular level, and it really was that vibration of truth from the Creator that was just undeniable. And so I think that if you share some of the things that you've gone through, some of the things that got you through those extremely crazy and tough times, it would definitely resonate with some people watching, man. And so why don't you kind of go ahead and take the floor with that, bro?
Yeah. So for me, there's two real big things, real key things to remember when you're going through this stuff. One is when things come up that you have to deal with them. Don't put them on the back burner. Do not. Don't shove them back down there into your lower chakras, into the sheol of yourself, and tuck it away because it's nasty and it's ugly and you don't want to deal with it because it's going to come out. It's either going to manifest in this reality as a physical demon and you're going to have to deal with that little dude or big dude uh, head on, or you can do it now. Yeah, it's tough, but it's going to be so much tougher. And in all reality, I come to learn that the more I kept pushing them down and not wanting to deal with, the more I was basically begging to stay in hell. And I wanted to be freed from hell, well, the hell was my hell and it was in me and I had to get it out. And the second, which should maybe be the first and most important, is rest on those promises, man. Like, because when there comes a time period here soon where that sun and that moon and them stars fail to give their light and people are going to be searching to and fro for truth, you got to have it in you. You've got to know it, not believe it, not remember it because you read it somewhere and because it sounded good. You've got to know it's true and you got to know who you are. It is know thyself, man. This is what scripture says. I looked in the mirror every day, but as soon as I walked away, I forgot who I was, man, because I'm associating myself to this flesh. This is just my vessel, man. This is just my vehicle right now. This is the avatar that I chose to come into to do what I have to do to reconcile the ancestral DNA of me. I mean, all the hope of the ancestors are in me right now to encouraging me and you, Joseph, and the viewers that are out there doing this work. And they're saying, do it, keep going, guys, keep going, because we rectified that. All the bad karma, man, is being rectified. That's why we've had such shitty lives, man. We've been so shitted on because we're rectifying all of this bad karma, man. And when we come out the other end, guys, it is painful. It sucks sometimes. I've cried, man, so many times with Joseph. And since I've left here, left Virginia and came to here, been used and abused by certain people out here that wanted to take advantage of me. And not that I'm special, but the Father was blessing me and he was pouring blessings through me, and they took advantage of that. And I'm not going to get into that. That's all I'm going to say on it. And I love them and I forgive them, man, because one, that's my nature and that's what we're supposed to do. Forgiveness is powerful, brother. Powerful. I'm going to get a tattoo on my hand that's going to say love and forgiveness across here. And I'm going to get the Merkaba tattooed on my right hand. Why? Because Merkaba means brand of the Father. And I want everybody to know I belong to the Father. The enemy will know what that means if I ever face him. And I'll just say, you know who I belong to, boss. You
Mm-hmm.
ain't getting me to switch. Um, but the ants that are coming in, we're seeing that as this veil breaks down that's been around the earth. As the Anunnaki built this worldwide web for planet. This is spelling witchcraft again. That's breaking down the moon that's held the Van Allen radiation belts in place. The moon is sin. Look in ancient cultures, every ancient culture called moon sin. It is sin. It does not belong here. The whole balance of everything in the Native American culture is on the weight of a feather. It's balanced by the weight of a feather. And right now that moon is throwing things off balance, and like Catfish puts out. I love his stuff with the magnetics and Ra and what's coming in and all that stuff. He explains that stuff way better than I ever could. And but we're seeing these toroidal fields, these magnetic fields coming in, and it's gonna look. I'll put it this way: in the movie The Dark Crystal, if you haven't watched that, watch it. It's great. The oracle that the Gelfling has to go see, she says it's the end of the world or the beginning, and it depends on which side of that fence. What is your perspective? Because if you're the Anunnaki Draco pieces of junk that did all this to us, it is the end of the world for you. It's the end of your reign. Y'all are over. You're done. You can't win. The Federation of Light is here. That's why you've been seeing all the UFOs and people have been capturing pictures near the sun because they're hiding out right there, waiting for these Anunnaki elite that escaped thousands of years ago and went into the Orion constellation and everything, and to even other planets in our system. They're waiting on them to come back to resupply. The Federation of Light is not going to allow that, guys. Man, I'm telling you, we got so much power right now at our disposal that we can tap into, that you should have no fear. You should have no fear or no doubt or anything. And as these downloads come about, as truth is unveiled, don't try to shove it aside just because it goes against what you've always thought was true. Because I find out, not daily anymore, but I find out from here and there some things that I thought were true that I've had to kind of relook at and take and revamp and my thinking, because wow, I really that wasn't quite right, And the Father's like, no, this is, and he shows me, and just rest in his promises and deal with what comes about. These energies are coming. You're not going to stop it. The best thing to do is ride the wave. Be unaffected, like Christ said. Be a sojourner. Don't be affected by the left or the right, but walk that middle line. And that's seeing everything that's happening. That's understanding what's happening, but not letting it affect your being. And in order to do that, you have got to go inside of yourself. There is no escaping it. You're not going past go and collecting $200. There's no get out of jail free card. You have got to go in yourself, and you have got to get this crap out of you, and you've got to deal with it, and you've got to tell it, you have no longer do you have power over me. My molestation, I was molested when I was a kid, and it was hard for me to get over. I was a sex addict because of it a lot of my life, which is really common in molestation victims, whether it's pornography or going out and having just promiscuous sex or something. It's super common because we equate love with sex. And I could not get it, but I had to look at that and say, you know what? You've taken my life from me. You've kept me in hell. You no longer have any power over me. I do not give you permission to be here at all. You must leave. And you've got to cleanse your temple. And then you've got to walk your kingdom. This is my kingdom right now. This is my universe. And I have to become master of my universe. I don't do what it says. It does what I tell it to do. Why? Because it's mine. I own it. I am the God of this universe.
And I think that that's huge, man. I think that that's one of the biggest things that that you touched on is, I mean, you touched on some huge major things, but it does come down to healing, man. It does come down to healing. I mean, it's the wisdom, the knowledge, the downloads, the connection with the Father, the connection directly to source of all things, man, is amazing.
Yeah.
But that is heightened through that healing. And
Yep.
so many people want it. And when they start getting this awakening, they start searching for these answers. And I know for a minute I went through a phase where I was very I'll just say it like this, man. I was a dick. I was
Yeah.
a jerk, trying to call people out, and actually I was carrying over the same programming that I had from the church, of the separation of the that's what these religions are. Is it's a separation tool, it's a division tool, it's math, it's ma'at, it's matter. And so the ma'at, the matter, is divided, and so divided by the divisive manners of genetic altering, of dividing the colors, of dividing the different looks, and even the different spiritual connections, and giving a set of beliefs and a king over these people, right? And so um, when you're coming into that understanding or understanding that, um, man, I'm being a freaking hypocrite because I'm over here calling out the church, and it's one thing to make people aware of what's going on, but I know that I was calling out specific ministries, and I was, just really just saying things like the church programming. Oh man, I'm worried about you guys. You're going to go to hell. If you guys are following Satan, not even knowing who Satan is, coming into this knowledge, you just touched on the fact that you got to revamp and go through and reconsider things, and then you get the dots connected to where you
Hmm.
were wrong and you were right. So
Yep.
you find out about all of these different archetypes and how they're connected. But then where I started messing up is I started trying to teach about this one is that one, and this one is that one. And as you get deeper into the ancient texts and you get deeper into the Nog, you get deeper into the Book of Enoch, and then you go into like just the Adam and Eve books. I mean, just you can go on, and then you get even further into the Vedic writings and seeing the different levels of the body and how the chakras correlate with different creations in the world,
Yep.
because these beings, everything, there's nothing new under the sun, and all of these beings are coming about and manifesting again because they already existed before. And
That's
so
right.
it's the same. That's where people are like, oh well, if we're manifesting reality, then that stuff never really existed. Well, yes and no. It did and it didn't. It
Hmm.
did because it didn't just come about because of our thought, but we see the happenings of the Mandela effect and how these timelines are coming in back into itself. It's almost like when you start on the outside of the web, as you spoke, this world wide web, and even in the dimensional realm, it's like that web. And if you start moving inward and getting closer and closer, it gets tighter and tighter, and you feel the vibration more, right? That's why the spider will sit somewhere in between or even right in the center and wait for that fly to hit, or I mean, on the outer edge, and wait for that fly to hit in the center because they feel that vibration on those outer strings. And it's crazy the resonance that you have when you start moving into these things with other people, and
Hmm.
you start receiving the I guess the same emotional swings that the whole collective is going through. And I actually lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
It's
The
all right, bro.
uh, you just had a really interesting point, man, and I'm trying to come back to it. It was in the healing and the
Revamping.
yes, the revamping. Understanding that when you get these things, don't get settled. Thank you for saying that, because that's exactly where I was going. When you start realizing that you've got some knowledge, some wisdom, some understanding, don't stop there and settle, because I realized that's what I was doing in the church. And that's why once I came out and started getting this wisdom and understanding and started to try and teach it, it would just get so jumbled up, and I'd get these archetypes mixed up, and I would get a little bit of my pride,
Yep.
and you know, especially when I find out that I was wrong,
Oh
and
yeah.
want to just kind of find a way around it, just like when I was in the church, find a way to justify what I said, and and so I think that there's a great importance in those things that you touched on, man, because it can really get you stuck right back in the trap of
Hmm.
of being in a slumber in that wisdom, or what does it say in scripture, man? Because of their knowledge, they became fools. And
Yep.
I think that it's key to always be in that mode of revamping, and be willing to um, just always remember that if a man thinks he knows anything, he knows nothing as he ought to. And I
Right.
think that continue that push of truth and in that seeking of truth. Um,
Hmm.
and so,
And
um,
that's so important, man. Like this right here, guys. Please understand this, okay? We were kicked out of the garden. Where's the garden?
mm,
Right here. And we try to get messages from the Father in that garden, and this space right here fucks us up, because then they try to logically, with their brain, who still has the reptilian portion in it, they try to make it make sense. Well, that doesn't, I haven't been told all that. Look, the church I was a pastor in a church. I was a pastor in universalism, man. Had hardcore followers in that. I mean, I battled theologians, people with PhDs on Facebook and stuff, and made them look stupid. Not because of me, but because of the Father. And he got me out of that. Thank him. But you know, it's a breeding ground of ego. The church is a breeding ground of it. They say they want to get rid of it, right? But like you said, somebody tries to say something and you feel like they're attacking you or whatever, or you find out you're wrong. Ego flares up and it's got to find something that'll say, no, I'm right, right? Nah, stay right here. If you want to eat from the tree of life, you eat it right here. As soon as you come out of you, you're eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil,
mm.
right? Because we got kicked out. And then the world teaches us to externalize everything in this outward world outside of the Garden of Eden. But Christ said that the kingdom is within us. So, like you've said, and I've said, and many of us have said, if the kingdom's within us, then the garden is within us. Then the throne of the Father is in us. And holy shit, I am a spark of the Father. I have the ability to create. And the Anunnaki usurp that, and they use us to create their reality of what they want.
I think that's key, bro, because I think that that brings us right back into the perceived reality that we're in,
Yep.
and how they're keeping people, man, constantly spinning, their wheels constantly spinning. And
Mm-hmm.
even especially, here's the thing that I've noticed is um, having that discernment and being careful to just really mull over everything and give it over to source and seek it even in meditation, in the astral realm, in lucid dreaming, and finding these answers and confirmations are important,
Mm-hmm.
um, because there's so much out there in the truth community that has people going way off course from where source is leading them. And I
Mm-hmm.
started to get off course. I mean, I started getting so deep into the conspiracy theories, and I saw, when I look back at my timeline, dude, I see where it was like a constant fear porn factory, dude. Like, I was perpetuating the desired creation and manifestation of the powers and principalities, the rulers of this dark age. Man, I was basically being an agent by all of the shit that I was pushing with the fear, and it wasn't just the information that I was pushing, but it was in the manner that I was pushing it, because I felt desperate. I felt like I
Yep.
had to do something. I felt like I had to save people. I had to wake them up, and I have to just let them know what's going on. And so the more that I was pushing it out there, that man, your cell phone's going to kill you, and the food you eat's going to kill you, and all of this and that and the other, and the government and the doctors, and as much as that might be true, like, there's a lot of doctors out there with great hearts, and their desire
Right.
is to save, man. And there's a lot of police officers out there with great hearts that are actually connected to source as well. There's a lot of people in the military that I've had this vision, when the shit hits the fan, a lot of the people in the military that are active are gonna freaking lay down their weapons, bro, and they're gonna
Yeah.
stand with people. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I do think that things are going to get very hard, and a lot of the prophecy, I believe, a lot of the prophecy that's in Scripture is already past, and that what they're trying to do is script prophecy and make it come about again. Again, nothing new under the sun. Something that's been happening is a constant reset with I mean, we can look at that with the Tartarian, the Tartarian history that's been covered up. I mean, one of the most recent resets is believed to be 6 to 800 years ago. In the findlings and the way that they take the children from the children from all of these cultures and mix them up and ship them out. And a lot of these communities that are created all by children. I mean, there's a couple of adults that, what do? They're there to indoctrinate the entire community into this way of thinking, and rewrite his story, right?
That's right.
And so,
And
man, I
look,
think
let's talk a little bit about that. I'm gonna say some things right now, and hopefully they
I would
don't
love for
discourage.
you, brother. I would love for you to, please.
Hopefully it doesn't knock your viewers off too much. But I just want you to. I'm encouraging you guys. Don't dismiss this. Really research it out and really think and ask the Father, ask the Great Spirit about this. But so we're pushed right to want to go to heaven, this place, heaven.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
single place heaven, right? But the Father created all of this for us to explore, all of it. So why do we want to go to one single place? Well, let me tell you why they push this thing called heaven so much. Because you want to know what Planet X's real name is? You want to know what Nibiru's real name is? What the Anunnaki call their home planet? They call it heaven. So do you
yeah.
want to go to heaven? No, I don't. I want to go explore everything the Father had for me to explore. I want to be part of it all because that's what he did. He created it for us. Here's a whole galaxies and universes and dimensions that you could explore and be a part of. Go do it. Now go explore. This is your inheritance, right? This is the kingdom in which I created, and you are a son or a daughter. You are an heir to the throne. Now go explore your kingdom. No, I'll just take this one little place called heaven.
I got chills, bro.
And
I got
see, that's going to blow people's minds. And I'm sure, hopefully, it doesn't upset anybody. And if it does, that's their problem. They have to deal with that. They have to reconcile that within themselves. But that's the truth. It's in ancient texts and writings all over the place. Anunnaki came from heaven.
yeah, from the heavens. They're the God of the heavens.
Yeah,
They're
the Elohim.
the earth. And
Elohim. That's what they call. That's what Elohim means. They're the ones that came down from heaven and manipulated and genetically altered and caused the Nephilim. And your people want to be like, yeah, we're Elohim. Nah, dude, I'm not claiming that junk. I'm a son of the Most High. I'm a son of the Creator. I'm a son of the Great Spirit. I'm a son of the Father, the Mother. And you wonder why things are going the way they are. But look at how it says, don't, oh, you shouldn't rape. And they think, oh, you shouldn't just go into an alleyway and rape a woman. But we rape a woman every day of our life called Mother Earth, who we birthed from, who we're going to be born from. And in all reality, I love this, man, because it tripped me out when the Father put this in my head. We aren't even born yet, bro. We're in the womb of the mother right now. We're trying to figure out what's it going to be like out there after this when we're born. What's it going to be? What's out there for us to explore and to be a part of and take care of? You ain't even been born yet. Ain't even been born because you got to be born of spirit and water. You know what I'm saying? So
and that
I know that's
spirit
going to be hard for people to grasp,
James
but
says another truth smashed. you know?
yeah, there you go, James. I love James, man. He's up on my Discord channel.
Oh, really? I love
Yeah.
James. I need to jump into one of those. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out YouTube, dude. So I don't know Twitch
Oh, well,
or
it's sitting on YouTube. Go download the Discord app. It's a gaming app. And when you do and set your username and stuff, let me know and I'll invite you over to my room. And
awesome.
you can join Global Witness if you want, whatever, whatever. I mean, you can create your own channel and put music rooms in there, voice checks, chat, everything. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And it's pretty secure. So that's good.
That's
And
that's that's key.
yeah,
that's
and so listen, I don't want to stay on here real long. I know it's late where you are, and I got to get up early in the morning and help do a little bit of work on some things. But I'd like to say just, I guess this. I'm not going to say one last thing, but I'll say this
yeah,
is,
because I definitely want to have you back, man. I
dude.
definitely
Now that
so much
anytime.
to talk, so much to talk about.
Yeah, anytime you want, bro. Anytime. You just hit me up, man. You got my number. And
Yeah.
take people, do a gut check, okay? How much do you love yourself? And how much do you forgive yourself? Because check it. If you don't truly love yourself and every part of you, then any love you extend to anyone else is in vain. It means nothing because it's not true love that's emitting from you. If you offer forgiveness to someone, but you haven't truly forgiven yourself of the things that you've done, then that forgiveness is in vain. It means nothing because you can't offer something that you haven't even given yourself. We have to check that. And that's key. That's why I want love and forgiveness tattooed on my hand because those are monumental, man. Love, 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 no matter what. Now, a lot of people get confused with that in love, right? They do something bad and you kind of talk to them about it or point it out and try to say, hey, what's going on with that? And then they'll check you, right? You're being an accuser. You're accusing me. No, scripture says that we're to have no works with the evil deeds of darkness, with the unfruitful works of darkness, but we're rather to expose them, reprove them, bring them forth. Why? So that you can be a better you. And maybe you don't see it. Maybe you couldn't see it. Maybe it's going to take somebody saying a couple harsh words or pointing a few things out to you for you to wake up. Because
Mhm.
right now we're in the time of the great shaking, right? Everything that can and will be shaken,
Mhm.
and that's within yourself. The father is like any good loving dad would, right? I used this analogy in the past. If I take and maybe tell my kids about alcohol and hard drugs and stuff like that, heroin and meth and crack and all that crap, and I'm like, don't do it, guys. And now I start seeing them. They get a little older. They're getting a little more curious. They're, what is that? Should I mess with it? Should I not mess with it? I don't know because I don't even know what the hell good and evil is. And then I'm like, get a little sterner, right? Am I talking? I'm like, listen, don't do it. I'm telling you, please don't do it. And then bam, my son comes home, man, and he's all cracked out, methed out, drunk as a skunk or something. And now my words are going to get a little harsher, a little more sterner. We are in that time period where there's no more games. You've come home drunk. You've come home cracked the hell out, meth the hell out. And the father is shaking you and he's saying, wake up, please stop this. I love you. I want to be with you. And the only person separating you from me is you. Stop it. Wake up. It's
I, I
time.
I gotta be honest, man. I'm pretty convicted right now because I got to take that from myself as well. To be careful about. Um, oh man, be careful about how we're exposing things, because it can happen very easily that we become the accuser because we are to expose things. But I think that why that means so much to me is because it's just something that God showed me recently, like solidified in the things that I was doing before coming out of the church. And I know that I've got to make some apologies to a lot of people, because I've been a dick in the past, and and I'll be honest, man, that sometimes that still happens. I get a little frustrated, and the flesh comes out. So um, I
Me
just
too, bro. Me
I
too.
I love all you guys, man, and I love you, Brandon. You're just such a dear brother, and the Father just continually speaks to me. Um, it's whenever we talk, man, through you and through your words, and even though you're addressing the whole chat and anybody who might catch this on replay, um, it spoke directly to me. And so I know, man. We talked before I jumped on here, and I had mentioned I got some inner work to do, and that just yeah, that just pointed to some things. And I appreciate it, brother. You're such a faithful brother to uh, speak in love and speak in gentleness, and even when you have to speak with authority, I've always just seen that love and gentleness. Whether you're excited about something, being firm about something, it really shows the spirit of the creator in you, and it's conveyed in every word, man. It's again, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, and I vibe with it, man. I feel it, and I know you got some things to do, and I'm not going to stay on much longer, but I do want to let you guys know that are watching. I am going to touch on a couple of more things because what Brandon said tonight is key in some of these things that are going on. And I came across a really interesting post, so I know you're going to be crashing out soon, um,
No, do
but
what you got to do, brother.
I'm gonna if you do catch the replay or catch the last bit of this before you go to bed, man, I think it'll be really interesting, some things to think about, and something for us to talk about next time because I think it really correlates with a lot of what was talked about tonight, and so especially with where we're moving forward to, how things are shifting, and exactly what you said in closing about that we have the freedom. There's been a lot said about this light, this false light siphoning system that people are being sucked into the black hole sun, which is where many people in history believe Yahweh resides, and which again, the Anunnaki gods, and
Mm,
so and then again, it's a recycling system, and so when you end up there, you might end up somewhere you might not want to, in a lower vibrational, a heavier density realm, which might be a lower version of what. I mean, some people say this is purgatory or a version of hell, but I do believe that there's much lower
yeah.
vibrational, heavier density areas, dimensions, and I know that in this awakening, Source has a plan in all of it, and
Mm,
so everything that you said tonight, key, especially that point in closing, that we were given the keys to not just this universe, but every universe, because I mean, we consist of thousands of universes. When you look at the makeup of our toroidal field around the Earth, the toroidal field around our universe, and the toroidal field around our bodies, and you look at that in retrospective or in comparison of what an atom truly looks like, um,
mm-hmm.
we're made up of billions of universes,
That's
and
right.
like Christ said, man, he goes to prepare a place for us, brother, and you've been doing that in everything that you've been doing, and so I just want to encourage you, bro. Continue to walk with Christ because I see his spirit upon you. And I know that you've taken that office, that counsel, that seat at the table, bro. And it's already there. It's already been written and it's already been finished. And so continue on now, especially as things get harder, man, because I know and I've been feeling it, man. I've been breaking myself, and I know that it's going to continue to get a lot more rough for those of us who are in tune with Source and in tune with the collective. And so I love you, brother, and I just thank you so much for taking your time after a long day of work, of hard work,
Yeah.
and so. Um, it's not like you were out there picking daisies, man. You're out there busting your ass, and you come on and spend hours, over an hour on here with me, man. And so I love you for that, man. And I'm just very, very grateful, bro. And I know we're gonna talk again.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'll try and reach out to you tomorrow in the next couple of days, and yeah, brother, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You've blessed me greatly, more than words can express, and I know you blessed um, all of the viewers tonight and everybody who comes across this video moving forward in the eternal now is going to be blessed greatly, and they're going to have a lot of dots connected, bro. So love you,
Yeah.
man.
Well, I love you too, bro, and I'm humbled and I'm so grateful to have you in my life, man. Like you are a solid brother. I know you would never cheat me. You would never do anything dirty to me. And I just can't thank the Father enough for you. I can't thank the Father enough for the people who are listening, the viewers, and my friends that I've made through YouTube and stuff. And I don't do this for money. I don't care about money. Really, I don't. I give it away as much as I can because I
Mhm.
don't want it to have no control over me. I don't want to be corrupted by it, So I just give it away as much as I possibly can. I give it away, and that's just something the Father's put on my heart. But when I promise you, when I get off here and leave, as I'm laying down, I'll listen and watch the rest of it. If I fall asleep, I fall asleep, but it's here on the net and I can pull it back up. But I'll be listening in And I'm going to work on getting a whiteboard too, so I can draw some visuals when we go and draw that pyramid and the realms and where we are on the plane and all that stuff.
Text me an address, man. I'll see if I can't get you one out there, because that's
Oh,
key. I would love you to share that on my channel. If I can get you even just you know, I mean, it might not be a huge chalkboard, you know, uh,
well,
it might not be big if you're
I
nice.
get paid on the first, man, and when I go up there with to see, Soul's Eye, I'll get me one. So just I appreciate your offer and everything, but then you'd have to pay shipping and all that, and by the time you go to pay shipping for a $15 whiteboard, I can just go buy one. So
Awesome,
but I want to do that because I think it'll help your viewers really understand some things and
it,
connect dots.
dude. Yeah, I can't even say how key that was, man. I think I seen a couple of them that you did, but that one that you did with the planets and the Merkaba and how it all ties in, and the light body, and again coming back to being able to traverse the universes and beyond. I mean, beyond. I mean, the ether is endless,
Yeah.
limitless, bro. And so we have access to it, man. And so that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And many of us are going to find some really, really deep stuff out there. I mean, I think many of us already have, bro, just in your story, in the lucid dreaming, in the astral, traveling, all of the supernatural experiences, bro. We're already
Okay.
reaching those spaces that have never even been explored, even by those who came before. And
Yeah.
that's why now is a very special time, bro.
Yeah. Whatever you can imagine, man. Remember Peter Pan, right? He got older, right? He grew up into an adult. He gets kidnapped and taken back to Never Never Land, and they're trying to eat this old meal, and they said, Pan, have you forgot how to use your imagination? Like, what's up? But that's where the real reality is, Like, I could go off on a tangent on this, man, but I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna let you do what you gotta do. I need to get some rest. So I love you, brother, and we will do more things together.
Yes, sir. Awesome, brother. I love you. You have a good night, man.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
Bye. All right, family. Give me 1 second. I got to grab a charger so I don't die out. All right. Thanks for hanging, man. Thanks for hanging so late, Brandon. If you guys didn't catch it, it's FD2L 2017 is his channel. That's his new channel, and he's a deep diver. And so I thank you guys for hanging out late. I'm not gonna stay on here too much longer, but like I said, I came across something interesting, and I know that we can touch on it next time we talk, Brandon, and sorry guys, trying to get this cleared out. Um, and I will go over the chat. I've been doing some late ones, so I haven't really been running through the chat, but I will go through and see if there's any questions or anything. But I did want to touch on this. We were talking about the 144,000, and Brandon was touching on the fact that we have the keys to traverse the various universes, and that it is limitless. It is limitless. And if you've caught any of my previous content regarding the space in between the neural pathways in our brain, and the way that scientists somehow have been able to measure that, and they say that it's infinite. And so that we have an infinite space in between the neural pathways of our brain. And it's just so crazy that all of these things that are being proven really point to revelation, really point to scripture, and it really points to these things that man, it's just so crazy that when you start to dig deep, and you start to um, have that willingness to discard everything that you knew, and let me rephrase that, not discard it, but set it aside and consider new possibilities, new truths, and really just take it to source and try and fathom the depths of the creator, right? In scripture, it says that if you seek, you'll find it. And so when you seek with that pure heart of wanting that truth at all costs, no matter what it costs you, no matter what it no matter what it does in your life, no matter what it does in here, no matter what it does up here, when you have that willingness, it'll be given to you. It'll be found by you. That door that you've been knocking on will be answered. And so, we got to consider God's plan. And I came across this post by Brother Bronson on my Facebook, and it just really just was so. It was one of those things. It was like, and you know what, Don, you're right. They do need a quantum computer to do what we're capable of, and even then they're not capable. A quantum, I mean, they can put together 4 quantum computers and it still wouldn't even scratch the surface on what we're capable of when we unlock the powers that that, like I said, Christ said we would do greater works than him. And so man, it's pretty crazy that there is a very intricate plan and reason, even for all of the genetic coding and all of the manipulation of not just genetics, but of the mind, and the way that what was meant for evil will be used for good by the Creator, and it will manifest outwardly via his creation, which is fragments of him. And so I'm going to move forward in reading this because I think it's going to be really interesting and really great for some of us. It's going to really connect some dots, especially considering some of the things that Brandon and I have talked about, some of the recent research that I've been doing, some of the research that a gentleman that I'm going to bring on named Eric Briggs, he's pretty amazing in a lot of the things that he's found in the magnetic side of this electromagnetic universe and spectrum, and how he's brought all of his stuff together. It's just really crazy, man. And the more that you seek, the more that you desire that truth and you hunger, what does it say? Those who thirst for righteousness, they will be filled, right? And you'll be filled to overflowing, man. That flowing river of life that feeds and gives life to everything around it. And so it's almost a beautiful picture, like Moses striking the rock, right? We are the rock. We are the cornerstone, just like Christ. He said that we would be sons of God, just like him. He said he made himself equal to God, but he also said that we were the same, as him, that we would do greater things. And so we are that cornerstone that was struck, right? And what happened? That living water came flowing forth. And so in all things, I think that Tanya said that. Let me see. All things happen for a reason, it said. That's so true. That's so true. There's no doubting that. There's no denying that. And family, when that 144,000 come together, even if it's not physically, when there is one like mind, a unity in love in that 144,000, we will reach that critical mass that I've been speaking about of quantum consciousness, and all will know as they should. And so this here says God's plan now in effect. The number 1 44 and its harmonics, 1440 and 144,000 are connected to the Great Pyramid of Giza. Again, research some of this stuff, because whenever I see this stuff, people are like, "Oh man, you're you're just going off the deep end with these YouTube videos, and you just read too much into all the social media crap." And you know what? Do some research. Do some research, and you would find some of these things to be true. And what you find not to be true, with the discernment that you get from source, it's easily disregarded, it's easily dismissed. You already know what is truth and what isn't, because the spirit of truth that has come to declare all things unto us will declare the truth to you, if you're seeking with that pure heart and a heart of love. I mean, I know that some people are seeking these truths to try and learn how to manipulate realms. I mean, that's what's been going on from the get-go. That's what's going on right now from the powers and principalities, the rulers of this dark age. That even though that there's a changing of the guard from this old world order to the new world order, and it's the Luciferians against the Satanists, and there's so many other things. It's just amazing when you can get a rush of information, and then as you decipher through it, again, if it's outside information that you're receiving, you can decipher through it quickly with a quickness, and you know what's garbage and what's real. When you get these downloads and the codes, man, you can decipher through that stuff pretty quickly as well. But with that, it takes a seeking and confirmations. You find confirmations as you seek. That's another way that you can decipher through what's good, what's something you want to chew on, and what's something that you want to discard and just poison right out. Because the spirit of truth is undeniable, and it's just again, it's just amazing. And so I keep talking, and so family, please forgive me. I know I said I was going to read this, and let me get back on it, but I want to be faithful and obedient to source when he's putting something on my heart to share, because I've been experiencing some spiritual warfare myself, and in the crushing, you can begin to question what you're doing. And so in that questioning of what I've been doing, man, I just can't tell you about the continual confirmations throughout the day, starting with a phone call from a dear brother named Jim Hobbs. He's Gospel Rangers. And, he called me and he said he just had this discernment that he needed to call me. And if you're catching this, Jim, I can't thank you enough, bro, because that was amazing timing from the Father. And yes, every DNA, Shane, every gene in our DNA has a frequency. 12 minds can connect simultaneously to a 12. Here, let me just put this up on the screen. To 12 at a time. It's time to change the algorithm to love from fear. And that's what's happening, brother. That's exactly what's happening. And I love that you mentioned that, because I've been making so many correlations, and I've been trying to get the information out there. And so, family, I know a while back the Creator put it on my heart to do a daily video. And so that's why, even through some of the trials, even through some of the physical ailments, some of the things that are going on in my life, I want to be obedient and sharing, and especially when he pushes me to share. And so especially when it's really hard and I don't want to share, but I know I need to. And so but Shane makes a great point, and I've been making correlations about the 12 cranial nerves, 12 tribes, the frequencies that the various that can really affect the various chakras, or the parts of the endocrine system, which is the 12 cranial nerves that connect to the various aspects of your body, and the way that they all communicate with each other through a resonance of vibrational frequency. And so and that's all based on oscillation rates of the electrons around the protons around the electron and the neutron of an atom. And so, yeah, I just think that that's great that you mentioned that, Shane. I love that, brother. So thank you for that input. So let's read on here. We said that it was connected to the Great Pyramid of Giza. Enoch has told mankind that we are being changed through negative entropy and moved into a new starseed evolution. And so again, these things can be found in various ancient writings and confirmed by other various ancient writings. And these things confirm each other. And then again, you just get confirmation from the spirit. And so we're being moved into a new starseed evolution. A pillar of light, which is the Merkaba, will realign us as we make this change. And so I'll be doing a more in-depth show on the Merkaba. I know I've talked about it before, and Brandon mentioned it tonight. And so essentially it's your light body, and it's your starcraft that you can travel and traverse the universes with. Even now in this physical body, you can astral travel, and in your lucid dreaming, you can reach other dimensions. And so Merkaba meditation is something pretty crazy, and we'll be doing some shows on that, because I think that that's it's definitely time for some of these truths that have been demonized for so long to get out there, just like the Book of Enoch was demonized for so long. And so here it says that Enoch told us this. And so this regenerating program is implanted in us, and the pillar of light will protect those who are implanted, while all else not protected by this pillar of light will be allowed to completely dissipate. And I did a show on my Facebook, and I'll try to either download it and put it here, or I'll just do a show. Maybe that'll be one of my shows tomorrow, since we're having a snow day. I might get a couple of shows in, but talking about the split from 3D to 5D, what many who have some of these downloads and have communicated with others from the spiritual realm, from that aliens, star seeds that have woken up and have cosmic information. It's pretty crazy, man. But a lot of these things these people have said have been just, it's all confirmed by quantum physics. I mean, it's all confirmed by quantum physics. And I will just, instead of getting side railed and going off on another route, I want to finish this and look for that show. I'll be doing a show on the split, the wheat and the tares, and the way that this realm is moving into a matrix and a splitting like a cell. And so let's keep moving with this, because it's not very long. So let's get through this. This realignment can only take place at the end of a cycle, when there is a space-time overlap. The placing of the pillar of light occurs just before entering a null zone. The null zone is a necessary element to make this realignment. This pillar of light is our shield, which protects our genetic code while we go through the electromagnetic null zone. Otherwise, our mind would not be able to adapt to the new frequency of light and would be destroyed. And so I'll also do a video on that. I think Eric Briggs has done a lot of information about some of these different energies and radiation energies that we're moving through and moving into. And so this pillar of light is our shield, which protects our genetic code while we go through the electromagnetic null zone. Otherwise, our mind would not be able to adapt to the new frequency of light and would be destroyed. The electromagnetic null zone creates a vacuum area in space, which changes the magnetic forces of creation. The councils which oversee this particular creation are helping us to make this transition so that those who wish to become more Christ-like will be assisted into the upward spiral of light, while those who are not interested in making this change will be allowed to leave through the old technology of death. The councils in charge of this transition are the Council of Nine, which governs our local universe, the Council of 12, which governs the new programs of creation, and the Council of 144, which oversees the spiritual hierarchies. Before this can all happen, Earth must go through a gross geomagnetic and catastrophic change as the north and south poles reverse their change. While this is happening, our solar system will enter a space where no electromagnetic fields exist, an electromagnetic null zone. So I think this is what Eric is talking about when the toroidal fields are removed and all of these cosmic energies and this radiation and electromagnetic pulses are going to be coming into our realm. Shit's actually just going to be lifting off of the ground, and it's going to be some crazy stuff. Loss of gravity or density, whatever you want to call it. Because those of us who are becoming more light are becoming more light physically as well. Yes. Sorry, I'm trying not to get sidetracked. I need to get a couple of moderators, man. If anybody's interested in moderating the chat, I'd really appreciate it, and it would be a great service, not just to me, but to those in the chat. So when I start talking about these things and get a little bit, when I get in the flow and start just continuing. I know I get carried away sometimes, family, and I lose track of the chat, and I'm not ignoring you. I love you all, but I think that it is pertinent information, and so forgive me if I don't always get to the chat. Just know that I love you guys, and yeah. And some things will get denser, and a lot of things will be a lot lighter. Loss of physical attachments. That's what caught my eye, James. It would be less dense. But there is going to be also a pull to the center of well, that's for another show. Again, we'll do that one with the split. And so this is why I need some moderators so I don't get sidetracked by the chat. I love you, James, and you spark so many things with your comments, and so I'm actually gonna. So, all right, so let's keep this going. And so, as above, so below. Awesome. I'm having an issue. It's not letting me give you that blue wrench right this second. So I think something's going on with my connection. Let me go ahead and click out of here because I don't want to lose you guys either. Oh man, I hope this feed isn't that horrible. My goodness. Are things coming through okay, family? Because it's really breaking up on my side device over here. It's coming through really choppy, so I hope it's coming through good for you guys. I'm gonna keep going and just trust that it's not buffering or chopping up too bad. And so that's why it wasn't allowing me to add you, give you the blue wrench to help moderate. And so it is buffering, darn it. All right. Well, let me try and get through this. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get through this. Um, oh, as above, so below says we're good. Is that for the feed? Do you mean for the feed? Am I coming through good for you? Dory says we're choppy. And so let's try and get through this. I've only got a little bit left of this post. Well, this is happening. Sweet. Papa Smurf. Yeah, James, I'll definitely blue tool you as soon as I can. My connection is bad, so I cut out of my other device. And so hopefully this is a little bit better because I took my connection off of that network for that. And so we're going to continue through this, and hopefully it doesn't get too bad. So where were we at? The electromagnetic null zone creates a vacuum area in space which changes the magnetic forces of creation. The councils which oversee this particular creation. Okay, so I already read that paragraph, technology of death. The councils in charge of this transition are the Council of Nine, and so I read that, the spiritual hierarchies. At the same time, there is a galactic war going on, which is removing those who refuse to participate in the grand plan, which has been set up for Israel. A new program will gather together those from the dissipated and scattered 12 tribes, including allowing intelligent man to move to other planets. And allow those from other planets to communicate with us here on Earth. Before all this can happen, Earth must go through a gross geomagnetic and catastrophic change as the North and South poles reverse their change. Before all this, okay, I just read that. Sorry. I keep getting distracted by chat. While this is happening, our solar system will enter a space where no electromagnetic field exists. An electromagnetic null zone. This is what's happening now. Cosmic waves will enter our Earth at the polar regions and penetrate the entire globe. People in the northern latitudes can see proton charges coming to the Earth from the sun in the aurora borealis. The fulfillment of the biblical book of Revelations is now taking place. Fortunately for us, science has progressed to the point where we are allowed to see what is happening, as well as having the awareness to experience it and go through the changes willingly or leave the earth in the old way of death. During this time period, those who do not take advantage of the opportunity to be of service to mankind will undergo terrible agonies of food shortages, deadly plagues, wild beasts, and wars. This was prophesied in the book of Revelations as the great seals are opened by the angels in charge. Revelations chapter 6. The trumpets are then sounded, which resets the planets in a new arc as the celestial capstone referenced in the vision, which sets off this piece of study, descends to space and is placed upon the pyramid of Giza, which is a model of God's plan of salvation, which is beneath the pyramid itself. And so again, it was a post on my brother Bronson's page, and it was just such amazing, yes, disclosure. That's as above, so below. You are right on. Finally, disclosure. Yes, as above, so below. It is cosmic disclosure, and it's coming through each and every one of us. You're receiving these things, and now you're just having them confirmed through the various brothers and sisters that are being brought in your path. And so that is the service to others that we are to take part in, is number one, sharing this truth, and even with what Brandon and I spoke about, being gentle about it, being compassionate, and being empathetic, man, to the people whose realities are being crushed. You know, it's just so it's something that has to happen. And here's the thing, even if you give it gently, as a person mulls it over, wrestles with it, and starts to come to terms with it, therein lies that breaking. It says in the Gospel of Thomas that that one who would seek continually would find, and when they found what they were looking for, that they would be disturbed greatly, but then they would be made to rule over all. And so if you're feeling disturbed, family, just know that you're being made to rule over all, and that this transition is happening. The best way to get through these things, especially with the these cosmic waves that cause these waves of emotion, energy and motion. So this energy that's in motion, that's coming down on us, causes the energy in us to be put in motion through the emotions that we feel, causes our thought process to go back to those solidified thought forms that we've already begun to unindoctrinate from. And then it puts us back into that realm um, of self-seeking, and of allowing hurt and traumas to pour outwardly. And man, uh, we just have to be really careful of that. We have to be careful to be in service of others. Again, I know that I've hurt people in the past, and I've hurt people recently with some of my words and some of the things that I've said that may be 100% true. But that doesn't mean that the delivery was right. And so, as I'm giving these things, that's basically what I'm doing. Is I'm giving you guys these things as I get these things, and so just understand that I'm right here with you, family, and all I'm doing is giving away keys that I'm being given from the Father, from Source Creator. I don't want to put the patriarchal. I know Christ called him the Father, and I know that there is a male aspect to Source, but Source is everything. No, Source is everything, and so that's why we have to become all. We have to join the feminine and male aspect of the brain, and take that middle way. Allow our eyes to become one. Then our body will be full of light, and then our body will be lighter. And so continue to shine, family. I see you guys being active in the chat, and it's been 2 hours now, 2 hours and 2 minutes. And so I'm going to start wrapping up. I am going to scroll through here and just kind of try and read through some of this. Again, I appreciate your activity in the chat. Dot, Dory, Tanya, Karen, Dawn, from darkness to light. I love you, buddy. Tanya, Dory, James, as above, so below. Man, I don't know if I mentioned Don Smith. Don, thank you again for being here. Love all you guys, man. You guys are so special. And I don't think that you guys realize how special you are, because the things that you're coming into the knowledge, it's for a reason. It's like Tanya said earlier in the chat. All of these things are happening for a reason, and you're a part of it. Be excited, family. Be excited that you're here for such a time as this. There's a changing of the guard, and we are here for this reason. That's why there's so many, almost 8 billion people. I see you, James. You know what? I'm trying to get Santos Bonacci out here. He's a master of syncretism and connecting the dots between all of the religions. And I am going to have him. I was going to wait to announce it, but I am going to have him on a show, hopefully this weekend, Friday or Saturday. I'm just trying to confirm times and schedules. But man, this brother is wise. This brother is amazing at connecting the dots, and he speaks so many different languages, and he's just traversed the world in search of this gnosis, and so did see that you guys are trying to arrange a meetup and stuff. And so if I get that meeting, if I get that conference set up, I'd love to see you guys make it out here and and uh, and catch a good. I'm looking to. I'm just. I haven't even planned anything, but just if I am able to get him out here, I'd love to try and get a couple of other people out here and make it a weekend long thing, maybe a 3-day thing, and just educate as many people as possible regarding these truths and the way that they all connect, because I think that's what I've seen in a lot of the conferences for these truth conferences is each one has their own little sect and their own little clique, right? And um, I think that the division has to stop, man. Break these false dichotomies and divisions and come together and understand that everybody's beliefs have some truth in them, and yet there's some deception in all of it. But as we come together, man, we can decipher through these things. And so family, again, I just want to just wish you guys nothing but wholeness and balance, vibrations and energies in your life. Everything that you received tonight, I just pray that you would apply it in your life and that you would hold on to it when things get rough, because again, we're on a ride, family, that it's like a roller coaster ride when you were little, right? You get scared, you get nervous, you're climbing that thing that, oh man, you don't know where to drop, you're going to drop down. When you drop, it's just this exhilarating rush of fear and excitement, and then when you start coming around the curves and seeing that everything's all good, it's a great joyous ride. And so family, take great joy in the ride. This journey is what it's about. Attaining the knowledge and wisdom and putting them together and finding that understanding for all of these things that have been mysteries for as long as who knows how long. I know as long as I've been alive, these have all been mysteries. But Source Creator is so good that he's never going to withhold anything from us. And so as you are challenged in a lot of the new truths that you might find, as you're challenged in some of the things that sound so far out there that is just so easy to deny, remember, you're never going to be left. You're never going to be forsaken. And that all things work together for the good of those who love Source Creator. And so, hang in there, family. Be strong and love one another. Love one another as I have loved you. That's what Christ said. That you love one another in that manner. And so, and just for anybody who's wondering, I don't know where there's my mouse. I'm in Colorado, and so if we get this conference set up, it's going to probably be in Colorado Springs or here in Denver. I'm in the Denver metro area. I'm in Aurora, and so if we get this conference set up, you guys can start planning a trip out to Colorado, colorful Colorado, and maybe there can be some kind of a good group meeting there during that time, because I would love to try and get Derek Rose. I would love to try and get a couple of other master syncretists that explain these things in different styles and different manners, but the information that they give is so amazing. And so again, family, breathe deep, persevere. It builds character. That character builds hope. We're told that hope doesn't disappoint. And so cling to the hope that is Christ. Cling to the hope that is Christ in you. And don't forget that you've been given every inheritance and all authority over all things. Over all things, including the thoughts, including the emotions, including those that try to manipulate the said emotions. And so I leave you guys with that. Just a ton of good, loving, whole, vibrational frequencies, energies. All my love and light to you, family. I look forward to catching you guys tomorrow. We got a snow day. Maybe I'll give an update outside and show how much snow we've gotten. We're supposed to get like 8 to 10 inches or something like that, something crazy. And so I'm going to try and stay warm. And I got a little meditating to do tonight. And so I'm going to let you guys go. And yes, 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 yes. James, that is huge. Thank you for that. In closing, I'll give James the last word. Be refined, tempered, and seasoned, and be happy. Be filled with joy. Be filled with joy. Be filled with joy. Because we're moving into a wonderful time. New heaven and new earth are right before us. And so let's continue to walk in joy and obedience and take that kingdom by force in the love of the Creator. And family, I know that you'll do that. And so I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you guys. I hope.